welcome back to CEO Life But Better. My name is Suzanne, and in this video I'll talk about another stress factor and how to overcome it, which is part of my video series, a playlist that I made for you, or I'm making for you right now, about things that stress you as a CEO or a company leader, and how to release such programs, stress, because basically it's mental programs very often. We think it's something outside, it's like the life circumstances or circumstances in our business that are stressing us, but really it's just our response to these circumstances, our reaction, inner emotional reaction, but also conscious, out of the mind, coming from the mind. So I'm here for you to help you make your life easier as a CEO or a company leader. So today's stress factor I want to talk about is working against time, working to meet deadlines and so on, which is obviously, if you think or feel that time is short or you're running out of time or whatever and you have to meet the deadline, but there is so much work to do, blah blah blah, well, that's pretty easy for us to get stressed when we face a situation like that. But what's really the root cause of this? I mean, why is this stressing us? It's stressing us because we are very often afraid of the consequences that occur when we don't meet the deadline, or when we have run out of time and we didn't get to that point where we wanted to come to. So what are these consequences? These are very often triggering our fears, our anxieties, like, well, maybe if I'm not meeting the deadline, then my client will say goodbye. Or maybe if I'm not meeting the deadline, I'll be in trouble with any kind of governmental institutions, and they, what's the word? Threaten me with, like legal consequences or whatever. And I'm getting triggered in my anxieties then, because apparently obviously that's not something that I want. I want things to go in a different way, in a good way for me and for the others. Well, when I say yes, I'm talking about me, obviously, but I'm also talking about you as a CEO and a company leader. If you feel that you can relate to to me, well, how do you get out of this? Well, in my opinion, there is only one way to get out of this. You have to face these fears, these anxieties. It doesn't mean that you have to deliberately not meet the deadline and see what's happening. That's not what I'm saying. But it would be good for you if you made peace with the possibility that maybe you're not meeting the deadline, or something is not going as fast as you want it to go. And for the making peace, it's necessary to face your anxieties, because the anxieties are exactly what destroys your peace. It's exactly what stresses you. Stress is basically fear, anxiety, like nervous energy in our body. And at some point we get tired and so on and so forth. So you have to make a deep dive into your mental and emotional patterns. You'll hear that very often from me when you watch my videos, because that is really how inner transformation works. Like that's the inner work that you have to do if you want to release these stress patterns out of your system. And once they are released out of your system, they are also released out of your life, because now when you're not anxious about the consequences anymore, when you're at peace and when you have arrived at that kind of deep knowing that whatever happens, whatever the result of this activity, it's good. It's the best thing that can happen to you. Even if maybe it's not at all what you want, but then it's at the very least, it's a good, well, how to say that? Like, it boosts your evolvement, your development, your personal development, to a point where you are much more capable to handle difficult situations in your life than you have been before. And well, after that, it might even lead you to a much better place than you thought, or that would have occurred when you met your deadline. So the introspection is really what you have to do if you want to overcome it. You really should try to avoid just reacting and just pushing through and Yeah, I wouldn't recommend to do that if you want to release the stress pattern, but to do the introspection instead and free yourself from the stress. Maybe you'll even find a much better idea or a much better path that you can only have access to because you released the stress already, because you're relaxed, like, when we are in the shower and we're having our best ideas in the moments where we're not thinking about something. That's basically how that works. Well, and what I mean by work with or do the inner work is you have to feel the anxiety, you have to feel the emotions. It's about getting awareness about your thoughts, about your program, and then feeling the emotion. Once you felt it already, well, then you wouldn't be that shocked anymore if that situation truly arises. Very often it doesn't even arise, but if it did, you could handle it. You wouldn't be completely overwhelmed. And when we're fighting for something and we're pushing through and then we're still not making it in time, we're very, very disappointed. And we fought for nothing. And you don't need to do that. You can work with yourself before and make it like an iterative process, like you're working with yourself, you're working outside because then your actions are much more inspired actions, which come from a place of less stress, less anxiety. Well, that's my tip for this stress factor, how to overcome that. If you feel like you want to know more about the other the other videos that I've done about the stress factors, then I made a playlist for you. There is also an introductory video which I advise you to actually watch first. When you've already watched this, okay, but go back to that and watch it also. And if you feel like you want some guidance, maybe you get my point, what I'm saying here, but you don't really know how to work your way through those emotions, anxious energies, and how to release them, then we can do that together as well if you want to. And I have an offer for you which I summarized in another video, which you will also find here or in the description box below this video. And there you can check out your options, or your option, because there is only one right now, to work with me and make your life easier as a CEO. Bye for now.